Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm the original gamer, ogStevieStrow, and welcome back to another chapter of Programming in Basic. Now, yesterday, I unveiled at the end of my Chapter 22 video a cool little do-it-yourself program that was given to us by the chapter. The chapter says, hey, why don't you make a demo where you create a spaceship and make this spaceship blast off into outer space and fly through the screen. So that was the challenge that Chapter 22 gave us. Came up with something that was kind of clever, kind of creative, a little bit fancy, if you will. And I did some page flipping techniques here, and I did some fancy getting and putting to where the spaceship does not erase the background. So that's kind of cool. That's an above average trick for doing something in Basic. But look what happens right here. The spaceship ends up going behind certain objects, and even the objects that it goes in front of, it's kind of clear, so you can still see everything behind the spaceship, because the only thing I captured was the actual outline of the spaceship, and I'm putting it with OR, so only the white pixels end up showing up. Nothing else gets pasted, so a lot of this is lost in translations. And so, as interesting as it is, I felt it was a little flatlining. So what did I do today? Well, not satisfied with that. The original demo was called Get Put 4. Well, I've created Get Put 4.1.
Hey, I'm John Strong, the author of Bomb Squad, and you're watching the original gamer, ogStevieStrow.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the demo, and then I'll break down to you what I did. Alright, I don't know if you saw it real quick, but the ship was drawn and then the ship was reversed. I also added stars to this too, so it's not just blank space. Now, one of the things you may or may not notice is that the ship is actually going a little bit faster, and it's because I've introduced a high-speed poke. This was something we did a lot in Basic, where we actually ran a poke. It's called poke 65495, comma 0, or comma anything for that matter. And we poke a location in memory which doubles the speed of ROM, and Basic is running from ROM, so Basic runs twice as fast. And I needed the speed, but watch this right now. When the spaceship goes in front of this blue planet, look at this. It doesn't get lost in the planet. It doesn't go behind the planet. It's not see-through with the planet. The spaceship is a solid object now. It is a fancier version of yesterday's fancy demo. So I really like this. And when I press a key is when the program ends, and it says, thank you for trying the rocket demo. Visit ogStevieStrow.com for all kinds of cool Coco stuff.
Robocop.
Ooh, Robocop. Gotcha, sucker. This is not bad. Not bad at all. Yes, I did it. Oh, freaking right. Look at that. I made it past the yellow belt. Very cool. Oh crap, I am getting the crap freaking bombed the hell out of me here. Okay, the square guy looks kind of like a puckering sphincter. Alright, there we go. Game over.
Oh, that didn't last long.
That's what she said. Okay, so I've got to jump over the spikes and under the ball. So, this is a much better version of this demo. So how did I do it, and what are some of the improvements to the program? And by the way, I have blogged all of this. This is already on my blog even before I started recording this video. So I have screenshots of every chunk of my program, and I have thoroughly explained in how everything here works too. So you can read about this in my blog as well, and you can also download this demo, which I've saved there too. So you can download the disk image that has this updated Spaceship Demo. So line 10, I clear memory. I set the P mode, I set the screen, I clear the screen, and then I create 3 declared or dimmed arrays to store graphical data. SP stores the spaceship, BG stores the background, that was here yesterday. I've added RM for a reverse mask. That's a new feature that I've incorporated. Line 12 is new. I did poke 65495, 1. This turns the computer into high-speed mode. Line 20 is the same from yesterday. I draw the spaceship. Spaceship is then captured in a 40 by 40 rectangle, and I get it at these coordinates here. So now I've gotten the spaceship. So most of this is the same from yesterday, although I've added the high-speed poke and I've added one more array that I have dimmed. Line 31 and line 39 now are new. And what am I doing here? The first thing I do in line 31 is I'm painting in the spaceship solid white, and then I paint in the 2 wings solid white. So instead of the spaceship just being the outline of a spaceship, it is now a solid white spaceship with solid white wings, but the window in the middle is still black. So the window is hollow. I then get that, and then I get that into an array that's called RM for reverse mask. So I now have captured a picture of a solid white spaceship. I then take that reverse mask and I put it back on the screen and I paste it with the preset option. So now instead of it being a solid white spaceship on a solid black background, it is now a solid white background with a cutout black spaceship. So I've basically got this reverse kind of cookie cutter, which is like a black spaceship shape on a solid white block. And this is similar to what I did yesterday in my ball demo. I did a green circle on a solid red background, and that green circle ended up looking like a hollow or invisible ghost circle that kind of made its way through background objects. So once I put it in the preset, I now have the reverse image. Then I have to actually get that reverse image, and so I get it again as a reverse mask, and so now it's done. Line 40 sets the screen mode, clears the screen, gets ready to draw the planets. I start off by setting screen mode 4, or P mode 4, which is my high-res black and white screen. I then do my little hack here. I switch to P mode 3, which allows me to actually draw and paint in color, because P mode 3 supports color and recognizes color where P mode 4 does not. So I'm doing P mode 3 stuff on a P mode 4 screen that I'm actually looking at. Line 46 is new. I created a loop to generate 99 stars. I generate a random X coordinate, a random Y coordinate, a random color, and then I P-set those stars. So I'm actually just plotting random pixels on the screen, creates stars. It's a real cute little hacky way to make a star field. So line 50 then says, okay, how many planets am I going to generate? And I changed this logic a little bit. It used to be random 9, so it was anywhere between 1 and 9, but I felt like sometimes I only got 1 planet or 2 planets, and that wasn't enough. So I now made it random 8 plus 2. So what will I get? I'll get, if it picks 1, it's going to add 2 to that, so I'll have a minimum of 3. I'll have no less than 3 planets. If it picks 8, it'll add 2 to that, so I could actually have up to 10 planets. And then this is where it picks the random coordinates. I've got the random X coordinate, Y coordinate, and color for each planet right here. So those things are determined right there. I then draw the circle based on those coordinates and that radius and that color, and then I paint it in based on that color. On line 70 is where I then take this whole thing that I've captured. So I've basically cleared a screen, I've put a bunch of stars on the screen, I've done a bunch of planets on the screen. So now line 70 finishes that loop of drawing them. Line 75 then copies this entire picture to the second page. I've got 2 pages on the P Mode 4. So page 1 is what we were looking at when we drew everything. I then did a P copy, and I P copied all that over to page 2. So all the stars and planets are now on an invisible page in the background that we can't see. Now this is where I described that I'm going to start some fancy animation tricks, and I'm going to do some page flipping. And this is the actual routine here that I use to do my animation. So what's the first thing I do here on the start of line 90? Well, first I set the P mode to 4, I set the screen to 1, I make this page visible, and then I go to P mode 4,5, which is actually page 2. And this is where it gets confusing. P mode 4,1 is one full screen. That screen is broken up into 4 pages. So P mode 4,1 is the top, 4,2 is the next quadrant, 4,3 is the next quadrant, and 4,4 would be the bottom quadrant. So one screen is broken up into 4 pages. So when I say P mode 4,1, I'm setting the screen visibility to the top of page 1, and then page 2, page 3, page 4 are all visible here when I turn on the screen command. Then I switch to P mode 4,5, and that takes me to the top of page 2, and page 2 is 4,5, 4,6, 4,7, 4,8. So I switch over to page 2. Page 2 has a copy of all the stars and planets that we drew. I now start here on line 151, which is really towards the bottom of the screen. Now what happens is my screen is 192 pixels tall. So I start on 0 and I go down to 191. But because my spaceship is around 40 pixels tall, I actually start putting it at position 151, and when you add 40 pixels to that, the bottom of the spaceship's on the bottom of the screen, and I eventually take that box and I lift that box of the spaceship all the way to the top. So I start here on 151, and I'm going to go all the way up to 1. Pixel 1 is the next to the highest pixel on the screen, and I'm now going step -4. I was actually going step -8 yesterday, and it was very herky-jerky, so it's a little bit smoother. Now, once I've started figuring out where my coordinates are going to be, the first thing I do before I start anything is I get the background. So wherever my X and Y is, and then 40 pixels to the right and to the bottom of that, I take a snapshot, I take a picture of the background before I start anything. That's stored in a variable that's called BG. Now, before I put my spaceship that I want to see, I actually put down the reverse mask that I did that special tricks to create. So this is my reverse cookie cutter, and I do it with the AND option. And the AND option says basically anywhere that there is a pixel is what I will apply. So the only thing that will get applied is the black solid spaceship that is my spaceship. So I've really got a reverse inverted cookie cutter that is blacking out a solid spaceship area just on the screen where I want it, and that actually reverses and erases anything that was a planet or a star behind there. So now that I've blacked out a shape of my spaceship, I then go back and use the original option where I pasted my spaceship object, which is stored in SP, with the OR. And the OR is clear, so it doesn't paste anything black, it only pastes the white outline, but I was already blacked out before. So this is a really cool compositing effect where I take a picture of the background, I do a reverse mask, and I chop out the background in a solid black shape of my spaceship, and then I paste on top of that just the black and white outline shape of my spaceship, and now I see my spaceship as it was intended, but it doesn't erase everything else in the rectangle behind it that would happen with a P-set option. So now that I've layered all of these images together, I've got the background, I've got the reverse mask, I've got the visible mask, that's the final picture we want to see. So now I run a pcopy command, and I'm basically taking everything from page 8, 7, 6, 5, and I'm copying them back to 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm taking page 2 and I'm copying page 2 to page 1. Page 1 is where we're looking. We're only looking at page 1. Everything else we're doing is on a different page. So we're doing all this copying and pasting, and there's a lot of flickering and stuff going on. You never see that. We only copy it once the work is done. So the visible spaceship is what we see. So we p-copy that. Once we've p-copied that to where people can see the good stuff, the last thing I have to do here is I actually have to put back the background that I had gotten before here. Here's where I got the background. Here's where I put the mask. Here's where I put the spaceship. I then copy the final image that we can see. When we're done with that, I then have to put back the background on that screen, or I'd be leaving pieces of spaceship everywhere and I'd be destroying and damaging the background. So I restore the background, and then the loop continues. So the loop starts at 151, it goes up 4 pixels, it goes up 4 pixels, it goes up 4 pixels, so the spaceship will keep going up. I introduced this thing here where I can now press a key to get out of the program, because if not, it would just finish the loop, go to the top, and then it would start over and just start at the bottom again and keep doing it, and it would run forever. So I've now added the ability to press any key at any time to end the program.
Hello, this is Paco Otacte, and you are watching Original Gamer StevieStrow.
And so line 99 is how we end the program. And then when I list this out now, line 100 is the last line of the program that says, okay, line 99 says we're done with the loop. We've done moving the spaceship to the top of the screen. Now, typically I would just go back to 90, which starts the process all over again, puts it at the bottom, and moves it to the top. So I start at the bottom, go to the top. When I'm done, I go back, I start at the bottom, I move at the top. What I did for variety is I made the X coordinate random. So the X coordinate's not going to always be dead center. It could be anywhere on the screen. So when it goes to the top, when it starts at the bottom, it could be somewhere else and start off in a new random location. That's how the program was. But I also realized, well, after a little while, I kind of get tired of looking at the same planets and the same stars. I would like a change of scenery from time to time. So rather than automatically going back to line 90, which starts the same routine over, I pick a number between 1 and 5. If that number happens to be 3, which is going to happen fairly often, I'm going to go back to line 40, and line 40 is where I clear the screen, draw a new set of stars, and draw a new set of planets. So every once in a blue moon, every 3 or 4 or 5 times that we go through this, we're going to boom, start over and have a fresh new background and a brand new landscape. And so it's added a little bit more complexity, it's added a little bit more fanciness to it, and it will change from time to time. And the main difference here is, besides the stars in the background, you notice that my spaceship always stays in the foreground and nothing shines through the spaceship except for the window. I've left the window in the spaceship kind of hollow and open so we can see behind the spaceship, but my spaceship is always in the foreground, and it's actually going faster now because I'm now putting 2 things instead of just 1 thing. It actually got slower, and so the program got slower by doing this. And so that's when, and I was sharing this on a little Skype chat with some people, and this is what Curtis Boyle says, hey, why don't you use the poke? And I'm like, yeah, why not? We'll use the poke. So we're using the high-speed poke to speed up this program, and it's kind of not that bad. And so here is our graphics demo, and it's our fancy non-destructive spaceship that's always in the foreground, and it's always very kind and respectful of the background. And we'll let them loop a couple times, and let's just see if the scenery changes, because I love just to see a nice triggered scenery.
Hi, this is John Linville.
And Neil Blanchard.
We are the Coco crew. I hope you're enjoying watching StevieStrow play video games, especially the Coco games. And when you're done with that, check out our podcast at cococrew.org.
So a lot of cool things are going on here. We're doing some hacks to get colors on a monochrome screen by switching to P mode 3 and forcing artifact colors to be generated that could not be generated natively using the P mode 3 commands. P mode 4. When I draw and paint in P mode 4 only knows about 2 colors. It knows about black and knows about white. So in the context of P mode 4, there is no direct internal native official way for P mode 4 to generate or paint in color. So I've switched to P mode 3 to be able to circle, preset, and paint in those colors. So it's kind of doing a little hack, which is kind of cool. And I like the fact that the scenery has changed and I still have my spaceship. So I might want to play around with different variations of this spaceship, and maybe I'll do a solid one too, because a solid white spaceship might not be bad. You just never know. I could have this spaceship painted in random colors each time, so it could be any combination of red, white, and blue. You know, we've got options, but it's pretty cool. So this was just taking the same thing, not being satisfied with what I did, and just bringing it to a slightly another level, a little bit cooler level, a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. I hope you found some of these techniques useful and interesting, and besides this video, because maybe it's hard to pause the video, I've basically done the same thing and blogged it all out. So each little section of the code, you're going to see a screenshot of all the various pieces of the program and some kind of explanation of what I did and what was going on here. So very interesting video, very cool little demo, even though the spaceship still looks kind of cheesy and the speed is still a little slow and jerky. This is not bad for what was possible and what was done in the days of Extended Basic in the 80s. Not a bad little demo, not a bad little video, and a halfway decent blog post, I must say so myself. So if you go to my website, ogStevieStrow.com, check out the blog post. It's probably the first blog post that I've posted that actually resembles an actual development blog, because you've gotten the entire code and you've got all the annotations and explanations of this code as a literal anatomy of this program, breaking it down line by line. So if you're interested in talking about and thinking about and reading about how software is written and what the different statements do in the program, then this video and this blog might be for you. But other than that, we're done. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you need more videos, go to my website, ogStevieStrow.com, for lots of gameplay goodness. All kinds of Coco videos on there, all kinds of videos on there. If you need some retro swag and you need some merchandise, go over to my website here and click on the merchandise link, and you can get color computer t-shirts and coffee mugs and other types of retro stuff. There's all kinds of cool retro swag on my shop as well. I'm the original gamer, StevieStrow. I'm now going to record chapter 23 and look for that one tomorrow. Keep on gaming, keep on programming in Coco forever. Gameplay goodness. We'll see you all in the next video. Peace out and bye-bye. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Share with your friends. Bye-bye, everybody. Coco forever.